Good morning. Good morning. How's everyone doing? Hey, Donnie, Jam. Jam, go to sleep. Holy cow, man. What are you doing up? Just eat a donut and go to sleep. Okay? You did good on the fasting thing. Hey, Kevin, what's going on? Uh, so, we had some liquidation yesterday, right? We had some liquidation. And here's the thing, real quick. Let's go into it. Sorry, I should say, welcome everyone to the Microefutures Globex session. I'm JJ. Sorry, I'm just a little, I guess, anxious to get into it this morning. Um, we talk about short squeezes and things like that, and this is always something to remember from a short squeeze. You have a gap, right? That's a short position, right? So a gap up equals a short position. A gap down is a surplus or an excess of inventory. Okay. So we had that gap up, which allowed wholesale longs to sell a good majority of this and lighten up before to show profits before to show their investors and their clients that they are smart before the end of the quarter. Okay. So they booked profits yesterday, right? As soon as we lost the bid at that low from what was it, the 21st, all of this short term inventory dumped out. Okay. What I do is I call this is your pinata low, right? Right here. So as soon as we took out, and I was telling you guys, if we take out 57.80, there will be change, right? And there was. Now, when a market starts taking out these lows, you got to be careful. When the market gets into the tail of this market profile, 57.91, you got to be careful because here there is nothing to hold the market up. There's just dead space. Does that make sense? So this is why size traders do not build long positions when there is a large short position in the market. It's like building a house on stilts in the sand. Do you guys understand that concept? This is a structural concept. Markets have a structure. And any trader who knows a little bit will know, listen, I should not be, what do you guys call it? Max long on a gap up. Okay, now there's smart money and there's dumb money. Okay, when we all start out in trading, we're dumb money. Okay, everybody is. You're not born with the principles of supply and demand ingrained in you. That's not something they teach in school. They teach you how to have a 30-second attention span and blast you with ads on how to buy Count Chocula and toys when you're a kid. So they don't teach you how to be smart money. They teach us how to be dumb money. So when we start trading, when we start in finance, everyone is dumb money. We have to cross the bridge to smart money. Okay? When you have a gap like this, wholesale longs sell into the gap. This, my friends, is called distribution, right? Why do you distribute? To make profit. Why? Because it's the end of the month, end of the quarter. And if you are managing money, you have to tell the people that you're managing their money that you know what they're doing. Otherwise, they go to somebody who does. Very simple. Okay. So we had a liquidation. We did not fill the gap. So there still is a short position going into the end of the quarter. We reduced the gap quite significantly. So today, our focus is on whether we fill that gap today and tomorrow. Let's see what kind of buying we get under 57.29. Our low today is 57.30. Use these levels, my friends. Use these levels. I've posted them in the room and they're available to you. Okay. The levels work, right? So large traders, what they would have been doing, this is how smart money thinks. I'm the seller here, right? That's why we couldn't get over 58.37. When that happens, I'm going to put it on sale because I own it down here. Okay. It's really simple. Now, what you have to do, if you're a retail trader, now I talk to people, I don't know how many, because I only talked to one before I went to sleep. How many people blew up their accounts trying to buy this dip? Because you don't understand that there is no stability or support in a gap. You don't know what kind of buying. We could have filled the entire thing completely, or we could have gotten down to the gap and then just violently bounced. There's a number of scenarios, and if you don't understand the mechanics that lead to the scenario, you're going to be in big trouble. And people did do that yesterday because they tried to buy this dip, right? And everyone's done it, right? Everyone's done it. I've done it. Now, I haven't blown up accounts doing it because I'm too cheap to blow up an account, right? As soon as I take 3 trades in a row and I start losing money, I stop trading, right? I've been raised in the brokerage business since I was a young adult. So the don't be an idiot, slap you on the head way of education works, right? But unfortunately, retail traders don't have that education or that resource. So they keep trying to buy and trying to buy and trying to buy, right? You cannot, you know, right? Hell yes. I stopped trading for the whole day for after 3 trades. Do you like burning money? I don't, right? This is why you have to have different sources of income. As a retail trader, I teach, I do deals, I do consulting, right? I do everything I can so I don't make crackhead trades. I know, no, that's very politically incorrect to say, but you cannot trade like a crackhead. You have to have some sort of awareness that you are doing business, right? You have to do that. You cannot, you know, you cannot conduct business like you're a 4-year-old and get all emotional, right? It's you have to grow up and be an adult. That's what this is all about. Okay. Horribly, horribly and politically incorrect of me to say, but I cannot stand people losing money for no good reason, right? You know, It just drives you crazy, and it's because they don't have any of the knowledge, and that's why I do this, to show people a gap up doesn't mean continuation. Why in this case? Because the inventory is above us, ladies and gentlemen. What does that mean? Very simply, there is supply above this level. Look at all of this, right? This entire market, right, has been, look where we are, and look at all of the supply over 58.24. Folks, see that? So of course you're going to have selling. It's not just going to go up to 52, 56,500. That's not going to happen. It's not at all realistic, right? Business has to be realistic. Well, first of all, to change and recognize a habit, you have to start exercising discipline. And that's hard. It's very hard, right? I just went through 4 or 5 days of not eating, right? And the first 2 days were hell. Put some rules in place and try sticking to them, right? If you can't stick to those rules, this might not be for you, right? Not everybody should be trading. Some people are better investors, right? Trading requires an insane amount of discipline because we don't have unlimited resources. So you have to pretend that you're at work. Now, blowing up an account is not something that you do if you were in a work situation. Yeah, then you should take a break from trading, Emu, right? You get undisciplined because discipline has not become a habit. Now, I happen to know a little about this because I'm one of the most undisciplined people in the world. Okay, I drifted through high school, I drifted through university, right? I didn't really grow up until 25. I worked as a bouncer, I did all sorts of crazy things, right? But when I got serious about business, you've got to be serious about business, right? I read a book called Liar's Poker written by Michael Lewis, who wrote The Big Short. I got addicted to it. It just got me. I was like, I need to be a trader, right? You have to get up every morning, and discipline and it's going to hurt. It's going to frickin' hurt. It's going to feel horrible to be disciplined, right? I know because I was a lazy kid, right? I'm too relaxed, but you have to just force yourself to be disciplined. After a while, it'll become a habit. And what we teach at Microefutures, right, is how to have a thing that you go through every day and how to build a trade setup that when the trade doesn't make sense, you get out of the trade no matter how you feel, because nobody cares how you feel, right? And that's the other thing. In finance, when you're doing business, the guy across from you is going to rip your heart out and eat it in front of you. That sense of urgency you don't get in retail trading. That's why people are like, la, 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 I blew up my account, right? That's really why it is, because they don't have any sense of urgency and the money's not real until it's gone, right? Yeah, you have to. What you want to do with those prop firms is you want to treat that prop firm like your boss. That's why they have risk management. So when you do something stupid, guess what? You don't get to trade, right? You have to enforce discipline. You have to enforce discipline. I'll say it until I'm blue in the face. To hell with patience. You've got to be disciplined and you have to be smart, right? This is a smart money business, right? People who are emotional and things like that, they always get taken advantage of. You have to grind it into a habit. You have to. The only way I was able to do this and even be, excuse my language, half-assed decent at it, and I'm still improving every day, right? Right? You've got to work at the discipline. If you don't, this beast will eat you alive, right? It really does, right? That's my month end speech. Every month end, I give up speech because here's another thing. At the end of the month, that's when all retail traders blow up their accounts, right? Because while everybody else is being careful and just trying to get paid, do you know you don't get paid, eh? If you're on a desk and you have a massive debit, you don't get paid, right? So every retail trader goes crazy at the end of the month trying to make the money that they didn't make during the month. Every professional trader is just chilling, thinking about what they're going to do this weekend and planning out the next month, right? You've got to have discipline, okay? Don't trade like a crackhead at the end of the month. Okay? If the market loses support, there's a reason why it's losing support, right? You when you're a new trader, why are you taking 20 trades a day? Okay, Adam, chill out a little bit. Okay? Right? You guys, you'll get, you know, we're not here to beat up on people. We're trying to educate them. Okay? Good stuff. I'm glad, right? But you have to be disciplined. Okay? I don't care if you're an itchy and scratchy trader, if you're a candle wax trader, if you're riding the waves of Elliott, I don't care what you're doing, right? But if you're not disciplined, it's not going to work. Okay. So how are we going to trade this mess now? Right. So we had a liquidation, right? Look at that. We had a liquidation. And what did we have in that liquidation? So you would think after a massive liquidation, what's this? It's a poor low, which we broke on the open because we opened on a gap down and then got back inside the previous day's range, created a short position under 57.43 because everybody was looking for follow through selling. This is another thing. When a market re enters the previous day's range, right? When it breaks the previous raise and comes back in, it means the sell orders. Do you see this? If you were using a half-hour candle chart, you'd see the previous day low is 57.43. When you re-enter it, the next half-hour period low is 57.45, right? So, and the next one is 57.49. That tells you not to be short, okay, for that move, right? Then we had distribution, right? We took the cheap stuff here, we went and distributed it up here all the way. There's a poor high, competitive selling, right? Little changes every day, Emu. It's hard to change your whole life in one day. You have to do little changes. And now we've come and filled these single prints, right? You have to do little changes every day. It's impossible to change everything. It's like okay, I've been an overeater and I'm overweight. Now I'm gonna like be Mr. Olympia. It's not gonna happen in a day. Small improvements over time, right? But consistency, stay consistent, and sometimes you'll slip. Say things out loud like, oh my God, I'm trading like an idiot. When you say it out loud, you catch yourself. The reason why retail traders get into this cycle where they chase their tail like a dog is because they have nobody to slap them across the head and go, snap out of it, right? That's what you have on a trade desk. You have to develop that snap out of it skill. Emotional control and patience are signs of discipline. I know some very, very intelligent people who have no emotional control. Right? Well, then, Emu, you need to take a little break and have a talk with yourself. You could change it. Adam, do you want to cut out? Adam, you're hijacking the chat, brother. Okay? All right. Thank you for your input, but let's kind of tone it down a little bit, okay? Thank you, sir. Okay? So, what we're looking now, how do you trade it in the overnight? Overnight inventory was long. It's starting to correct lower, okay? You go and you do your balance levels. What I did to get disciplined is I found a method that I did every single day and stick to it. So it's like you get up, you turn on your computer, right? Okay? And you go through the same thing every day. That starts to instill a habit. Does that make sense to you guys? Yeah. I know you sleep next to your computer, Mike. What's going on, brother? How you doing? Right? So now we're looking like the cost basis of the overnight was up here at 65, 60 to 65. Now we're in the discount zone. Okay. We're looking for that lower stop at 57.53. The inventory is now above us. Hey, Moran, how are you? So, what I'm looking at is the lower end of this, right? So, I'm short biased, right? And I don't know what kind of bids are here at 49, 53, 45, 43, right? I don't know what the bids are there. So what I'm trying to do is I'm going to try and see if there is a reaction at 57, 51 and 3/4 because I'm testing my levels. So the first thing we do is we go and look at the inventory where it is, right? Assess the situation from a larger bird's eye view. Then you go in and you draw your balance zones using the 1 minute candles, right? Then you watch to see whether the levels work. If the levels don't work, you have to redraw your zones, right? If the levels work, you just sit and watch, and then you take a couple of test trades when your setup presents itself. Okay? If you take test trades and you start getting stopped out, obviously something is off, right? When you get stopped out of a trade, now, of course, you could be doing everything right and a stray order comes in and takes you out of your position. That happens. But a lot of the times, you're either trading too early, you're trading at the wrong time, or you're trading at, you're looking for something that you think is going to happen that the chart is not confirming. And that happens to us all the time. That's why if I'm biased, I'll announce my bias. Right now, I am short biased. I'm saying it out loud because I want to short the market. I missed the short from 65. I missed the short from 60, right? So I'm going to be late to the party. What happens to late to the party shorts when the market catches a bid? They get roasted. Say it out loud. Now you're aware. Do you guys see? If you speak out loud, you are aware of what's going on and your way you are assessing the situation. Instead of internalizing those thoughts and then just thinking that you're like, you know, like, oh, I'm really smart. If you say it out loud, you're like, holy crap, I want to short the market at the lows of the of this move. Maybe not the smartest idea. See what I mean? Write it down. Yes, write it down. The physical act of doing that is like having a trader next to you going, hey, what are you doing? Right? When I started on the trade desk, my head trader, her name was Denise, and I'd pick up the phone and I'd start putting an order, and she'd like throw a stapler at me and go, hey, what the F are you doing? Be like, she's like, just hang up the phone. But you don't have that. So sometimes you get this insane nut job idea, and you're like, oh, that's a great, I'm max long, I'm going to do this, right? Or it's got to go higher, it's got to go lower. They want to take it higher. That's the other thing. The worst thing I hear, they want to do this. How do you know? Are you in the boardroom? No, you're not. They want to take it higher. They'll take it higher when the offer starts lifting. Exactly, Phil. Right? So the offer starts lifting, right? That means the sellers have seen some buyers at VWAP and they're raising the price that they're willing to sell at, right? Verbalize this stuff and it will help. So if I'm short biased and I see that offer lifting, I know there's going to be sellers at 58 quarter. I know that there are going to be sellers under 60 and under 60 and three quarters. So if I want to short this, I would prefer to let it offer under VWAP, right now, and stay under VWAP, right? Now, London is opening, and if we take out 51 and three quarters, we're going to be 4 times into the discount zone. Now, somebody asked me, what's a discount zone, right? It's exactly what a discount means when put something on sale, right? There's no magical term in finance. Look at that. So had I shorted 56, 57, they'd be ripping my face off at 60 right now. Do you guys see that? That keeps you out of a bad trade. Make sense? Anyone? Bueller? No? Yes? Is this thing on? Look, I'm doing this for your benefit, guys. I already know this stuff. Okay. Just seeing if people are awake. I know it's 4 o'clock in the morning in New York, right? I did not see my setup, but in the last couple of minutes, my bias is wrong. Yes. So you have a setup, right? I like my setup is this setup here. This is my perfect setup, right? When the market looks above a level and fails, I'll short this, put my stop here, and then put my covers down at the next level, right? That's my favorite trade. I hate trading in the middle of a zone, right? Because I always get screwed, right? You go long, you get screwed. You get short, you get screwed. This is the kill box in trading, the middle of a zone, right? Well, that's why I have my stop here. right? I wait till it comes under the level so it shows that sellers need to sell under 60 and 3/4. I know there's a black box. I'm sorry about it. If anybody knows how to get rid of it, that black box, please DM me. It's not OBS. It's just YouTube. It's this the YouTube live thing. It's supposed to be a video camera, apparently. I'm gonna have somebody help me with it in the room, but if anybody knows how to get rid of it quickly. See, here we go. See, we told you that there'd be a seller here. Remember? We were talking about that not just a few minutes ago before we got distracted, right? And that's another thing that I always have to watch out for, getting distracted. We missed that, right? What did we miss? We were talking about the black box and we missed an obvious short of you see the seller at 60. You sell underneath 60. You put your stop above 60 and you cover 56. And hey, if you get lucky, you can cover at VWAP if there's no front running, right? Looking for 51 and 3/4. We hit 52. So the levels are fairly good. There may be a tick off, right? Maybe a tick off. That's okay. So now, still no setup for me, right? I can maybe talk myself into a trade. Exactly. The stop, because the sellers are here, right? For the last 3 minutes. When that seller goes away, there's no sense me being short. Why would I buy 51? No, 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 no. Right? We just trapped a bunch more people here. So what I want is I want to look below and fail to make sure all the orders under 51 are cleaned out. If I miss the trade, I miss the trade. See how it hit 51 and 3/4 to the tick? That's cool, but do I want to go long? Do I trust it? Because I know VWAP's going to have sellers here now. So I'm just going to watch, see how it's coming lower? So the sellers are moving down. The top of each candle is where the seller, whoop, crap, what did I hit? Oh, sorry. The top of the candle, right, are where the sellers initiate. Why is my screen dark? Do you see why I did not buy 51 now? You got to make sure the supply is cleaned out. So one trade that a test trade I would do here. Where's my Dom? Oh, come on. See, I'm not even prepared. Right? Say I'm shorting here, right? I offer out at 3/4. I didn't get filled at 3/4, so I hit the bid at half. Oh, now I'm offered it, right? I got filled at 3/4. So I'm short 2, right? But where's my stop? If I'm short 2, my stop's going to be at 52, right? I'm short 2 at 50 and a half, and I'm going to go put a buy order down at 49 to see if I see, because I know that they stopped selling right here before 49. So I'm going to go 49 bid, and I'm just scalping to see whether or not my brain is working, whether my timing is good, whether the order to flow matches up, right? See, it went to 49/4, rat bastards, right? So now I can stay short as long as that offer at 51 doesn't go away. If that offer at 51 goes away, I'm out of it. So I'll move my stop down to 51 and a quarter, 51 and a half, because I know I don't need to spend that much money. If we get over 51, that seller's gone, right? I moved my buy up to 49 and a quarter. Let's see if these rat bastards can sell. There we go. Come on. Got one at 49 and a quarter. I'm 48 half bid for the second contract. Boom, filled, done, right? I need to confirm that there's a seller. If there's no seller, why would I be short if there's no seller? Why would I be short? Yeah, the seller's right here. I showed him to you. As soon as we got under my level and that candle came up and it couldn't take out that candle, I know that the seller's stepping in. Why? Because I used to be that guy. Simple. Execution, not simple. The execution takes time and practice, right? And I put my buy orders in as soon as I'm short, because if my buy orders aren't getting filled, I need to move them up, right? I need to be able to manage the trade. Order flow is order flow is just the business, eh, you guys? It's not like a fancy term. Order flow means that the seller is there. Do you guys understand what I'm talking about when I say a seller or a group of sellers? To get back in long, DJ Trader? I'm not looking for a long at all. If art for me, Kenny, on the gap, it's simple. In RTH, if we open inside yesterday's range, there's no gap. If we open if we open outside yesterday's range, like say here, where's yesterday's low? There's a gap. Oh, to get short. If I miss the short, you got to remember we just started trading, right? So it's 8 o'clock in the morning here. I'm going to be trading. I could trade till 9 o'clock at night. What's the rush? Now I know a lot of you folks have jobs, right? That kind of thing. It gets in the way of trading, right? I understand that. But don't rush yourself into trades, okay? Don't rush yourself into trades, right? Forget what it looks like, Emu. You've only seen one green candle, right? We hit the yesterday's low to the tick. Give it some time. What's the rush? Is somebody holding a gun to your head and saying you better go long now? Is there somebody standing behind you with a gun, holding it to your head, going, "You better go long. I'm going to blow your brains out." Don't trade like someone is blackmailing you, shaking you down. Don't trade desperate. When you pitch an investment idea to very, very high net worth individuals, they look at you like you've got leprosy. You should adopt that attitude when you're looking at the chart. Be a snob. Be a price action snob. It's your money, right? You worked hard for that money. Don't let them just take it away from you, okay? Be a bit aggressive about risk management. Don't be aggressive when it comes to execution of trades when you don't know what you're doing. It was a stop run, but it was just inventory got too long beyond to something and it just liquidated, which took out the stops. That's all. The large traders are in no reason to buy this to go long. Do you see that, Imu? Right? It's going back and forth, back and forth. Now, a large buy order could come in and take the market, and it would take it probably right here, then right here. So, what you want to do now is you want to see where the sellers step in. So, that long that you were talking about, right? You want to see price stability to go long. If I were you, I wouldn't go long until we cleared VWAP because if you've had a hard time trading, let the larger traders work this area out. Don't be greedy trying to grab the lows, right? Let the order flow, as you guys like to say, clean out the sellers, right? Once the order flow cleans out sellers and because as soon as we get above 52, right, that VWAP seller at 54 is going to step in. Who cares if you miss the long, right? Are you desperate? You shouldn't be desperate. Wait till it does this, right? Wait till it gets back over VWAP, right? If VWAP wasn't here, I'd do a look below and fail of 52. I do teach how to hold my runners, but if you can't scalp, you're going to have a hard time holding runners. I teach people how to scalp, Luke, because I want them to learn how to act quickly and think quickly, right? Futures different than ODTE? I would imagine they are. I've never traded ODTE, right? Just be patient because being patient means being smart. Okay, you missed that long, right? From here to here. Who cares? Did you have a setup to take that trade? Where would your stop have been? Where would your risk have been? Right? Because you're not using my levels. What do you got at home that tells you to take that trade? And have you a setup that would, if you do, that's great. But if you don't, just wait because inventory is still above us. Right? The thing is, don't be afraid to miss trades. Trades come along all the time. Put yourself in a frame of mind where, you know what, I don't it's not like I'm begging for this money. I'm not begging for this money, right? When the way I do business shows itself, I will take the trade because my risk is manageable. Yeah, I would usually what I find after a long liquidation when London opens, and especially if it's a sizable one, what I look for, and it's very easy to get sucked into this, right? And look, and sometimes you do get that big rip, right? But what I look for is consolidation, for it to go sideways here, right? It takes sometimes longer to clean a market than people understand. Most people don't understand that markets have to be cleaned. We have to take all the longs out here and flush them into wholesale hands and then resell into the retail flow for profit. Now let's see if that seller is still here at 52, 51. If you're not a fast trader, don't worry, that skill will come over time, right? You can't just start doing something and be an expert at it. Be a little kind to yourself, right? It's the business puts enough pressure on you. You don't have to put pressure on yourself, right? Don't swing at every ball that comes across the plate. It's over and over again, right? It's like Jordan doing those 1,000 free throws. Yeah. So we cleaned out that 52 seller. Let's see if we get a seller at VWAP. I I was short biased, Dan. I'm not anymore, right? Until I see the market come under 51 and three quarters. What is today, Dan? Today is month end. Always be careful on month end, shorting into it. The end of the day yesterday and tonight are prime examples, right? To that traders who are short over the last 3 days get to cover. Think about that. How much money do you need to start trading? You can start with one of those funded trader firms. You pay a monthly fee. I would highly recommend that you don't use your own money when you're learning how to trade. There's the seller at 53.91, 54. Prop firms are the cheapest way in, and they also make you exercise discipline. That's what I would do. Equity indexes and equities settle T plus one. So if I sold 1,000 shares of Microsoft today, I would be able to access the money tomorrow because that trade has settled. So today is T plus one to the last trading day of the month. What time do I anchor my VWAP? 6 p.m. Eastern time, the start of the 23-hour session. Unfinished business, I don't use that term because it really doesn't make any sense. The order flow is finished here. I don't understand what unfinished business is. It's a very common term, but I don't understand it. Because if there were 5,000 contracts for sale and now there are no contracts for sale, the business is finished. So I don't understand unfinished business. And I apologize to anybody I'm offending, right? But when you work orders for a living like I have, when the order is complete, the business is finished. We do not have we have a poor low here. Yeah. No, no, we don't have a poor low. There's excess. What are you talking about? There's no poor low. Oh, you mean that it's a mechanical low that we came to 43 and that, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It could get taken out, right? It just tells you that the trading in the overnight is all inventory trading. That's all it tells you, right? They stopped selling when they got to the previous day low and lifted the offer because there were shorts waiting under there to cover. That's what that means, right? So when you use terms, try and give them a context that's useful, right? So what does a poor low mean? It's not a poor low because it's in the middle of the profile. There's only one low, right? But I know exactly what you're saying, that end period came right to the previous day low and stopped and then turned around. Because underneath that previous day low, the software saw bids and it pulled the offer. You know something, Emu? When Jim Dalton was trading, I'm not sure how old you are, right? Uh, they didn't have all this stuff that they have now. They traded face to face, and their trading tools were a pencil and a piece of paper. It's a little bit more difficult. And Jim Dalton, by the way, was the director of floor operations for UBS on the Chicago Mercantile. Okay, and he managed billions. So please be respectful when you speak about him. Okay. How do you know that, Ari? Yeah, I know, but just please be respectful because you also have to understand that that man he traded under to get profitable as a retail trader. It could take that much time. It's not easy. It was a different time. Oh, okay, Ari. I just don't know how you came up with that name, or did I say the name? See, there's that seller, right? There's that seller, folks. Yeah, you guys got to be respectful of the godfather of market profile. Okay. There's that seller. That's why I told you it might take some time to clean all of this up. Hey, Lyra, what are you up to? Can't sleep? I advise you guys and ladies to work at this every day and not focus and think of it as a skill because I know it's about money and you're sacrificing time. But remember, it is a skill, and that skill does require some time to develop, right? Okay. Keep track of where the sellers are. Okay. Well, the good thing about the money part of it now, Lewis, is you can use those funded trader programs and they greatly reduce the amount of capital that you will end up blowing up. I have no idea what that means beyond to something. I don't use. Now, how are you going to use that to actually make money? How can you incorporate that? Let me ask you a question. What do you call this? I don't know what you call it. I can invent a word, but let me put it to you this way. That information that you just put out, and it's a beautiful looking chart, right? If there's no taper, it means that there's buying competition. Do you understand that concept? If there's no taper in a market profile, if a market abruptly stops at a level and then reverses, that means there are buyers competing at that level and the sellers are raising price. Does everybody understand that concept? Exactly, Sam. That is what they call mechanical selling. Okay? Because I'll tell you something, if I've got 2 million shares for sale, I don't give a crap about the previous day low. I'm going to find bids and I will destroy everybody who gets in my way. I will wipe you out. So when the market stops right at a very visual reference and reverses, it means the seller is not desperate. Do you guys understand that? The seller can lift the offer and and the buyer will chase price higher, right? So I don't consider it weak selling. I consider it not desperate selling. Exactly. As soon as the seller finds a bid, they are going to raise the price that they're willing to sell at, and the bid will follow the offer. The buyer will follow the seller, just the way like kids chase an ice cream truck. Well, that's exactly what happens, SE. I don't know why nobody ever explains it this way, because that's actually what's happening. How do I know? Because that's all I've done is been the seller of size, right? So when I see all you guys coming in, right? Say let's for example say the stock is $6, right? And I've got a couple of million shares for sale. And I'm tapping it lower. Tap, 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 hitting the bids, hitting the bids, hitting the bids. If we get to 560 and I see you guys all coming in and buying, what am I going to do? I'm going to go a million shares bid above you guys and show it. And then I'm going to pull my offer, right? And take all the offers, which means buy everything on the offer. You guys will think, oh my God, there's a huge buyer in there. And you'll come running in and wham, that's when I shank you and sell into you. And that is called making a market. Okay. It's what we used to do all the time. Wholesale is choosing where and when to sell depending on the flow of customers coming in. Order flow. That's it. Yeah. If you're not a desperate seller. Now, if I've got a client who has to get out of that position, right? Maybe it's a sellout. Maybe they didn't pay for the stock. Maybe it's a, it's a margin call sellout. I will hit every single bid. If a stock is $6, right, and I got 2 million shares for sale, and I see a bid at 4.5 for 1.5 million shares, I am hitting it. I will hit it, and I will go through everyone to get through it, right? Just like a bulldozer, I will bulldoze every bid, right? I'll chew through everybody to hit that 1.5 million share bid. Then I'll stop selling. I'll let the market come back up and think I'm gone. I might even buy a little, right? And then when you're all feeling nice and safe and comfy and going long, whammo, I get you again. Right? That's how you distribute. Okay, folks. Sorry I went on a little bit too long. Have a good morning. Okay? And we will see you at RTH. Remember, be smart out there. Okay? Yeah, of course I was evil, Moran. That's how I existed for 25 years. That's why I'm doing this now. It's the karma credit plan. You know, this is why I have this room and this education, so I don't go Top Gun straight to hell. Maybe we pause somewhere on the way down. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Bye for now.